Well, it looks like we got two people in here thus far. Um, that goat, is that you? I see there's a second person. I'm just trying to figure out who that second person is right now. And they just left again. Yay. Hmm, I'm here. I just sent you. Back that I just sent you a link to the StreamYard via your email on your YouTube account. Did you get that? We have three people here now. I see you're here, Backgoat. I sent you the StreamYard link via your email on your YouTube account. Did you get that? Or I'll try again in 2 minutes. I have to reset my Mike. Try again in 2 minutes. I have to reset my Microsoft to get emails. Oh, okay. I'll try. I'll just let me know. Just let me know when you're ready, and then I'll try to send it again. Um, okay, try again. All right, I'm gonna try again here. Okay, set mail. All right, just hold on a second. I gotta. Oh, oh, there you are.
Hello.
Hello.
That worked great, Mike. Your email count is fine. It went straight to my email.
Okay.
Okay.
I just figured I'd email you it instead of just putting it out for everybody, considering some of
I
the
think that's a
issues.
great idea. I think that's a good idea.
Especially now that I'm having you as a co-host, I don't need to have it out for everybody to try to come in, and
Yeah,
especially with some of the concerns we've had the last few days here.
yeah. We don't like it when Bat Goat goes off. Bat Goat was very upset, and I'm sorry about that, Mike.
No problem. I understand. I don't know if you I don't know if you saw. I think she has a tendency to actually go back and look over the streams, and she left a comment on yesterday's stream after all that. I don't know if you saw that or not. But
I didn't know.
all right.
No. And I did. I thought about going over the stream, and when she was talking, I was going to go back and start taking notes on what she had said and how many times she said it, and then go back to the original. So, and then I was like, "That's, I'm not going to do that."
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that situation more after the stream if you don't mind sticking around for a couple minutes.
Okay.
Because basically, just a quick tidbit here. I want to just move on from this. She has apologized. She says she's going to try to just you know be quiet and learn. So I want to give her the benefit of the doubt here.
Okay.
Um, I just want to try to just move us forward from that instead
Yeah.
of dwelling on it.
And
I'll talk to you a little bit more after the stream is done and stuff like that. If
okay.
you're sticking
All
around.
right. That's okay. That's fine, Mike.
Okay, so let's get to why we're here on Fridays. And it's not for drama's sake, right, Matko?
Yes, exactly. I agree with that.
Okay, you know, um, so just to kind of get everybody kind of caught up to where we're at here, we've thus far gotten up to 1935, and by the end of 1935, there were two comic book publishers, publishing 3 books. Eastern Color was publishing Famous Funnies. Um, they were publishing Famous Funnies, which was basically a newspaper reprint collection. They were taking the comic strips that were in newspapers and putting them in book form. And then known at the time as National Allied Publications, what we know of as today DC Comics, were publishing 2 books at the time. What had become more fun comics and new comics. And let's see, Woody has something to say here. We are here to marvel at Batcoat's whiskers. Maybe I should have had you read on Batcoat because that was directed more towards you.
Oh, hang on. Let me. Yeah, I had to click on comments since I'm in Streamyard. So I'm okay. I'm with you. I'm awake. I'm here. Okay. Yes. Thanks, Woody. I appreciate that.
Okay. Um. So and that's where we were at the end of 1935. We're now getting into 1936. So to kind of give you an idea what was going on in American society, of course, we were still in the midst of the Great Depression. FDR would be reelected to a second term. You know, many of his policies were starting to be struck down as unconstitutional. In let's say every in basically every for everyday Americans, you had fathers who were going out to their jobs at the factories or public works, or working 10 to 12 hour days. You know, or in other certain public safety professions like police officers, doctors, and the like. Um, you'd have mothers who were, aside from, of course, being at home tending to the kids and their own housework, they'd be doing things like taking jobs as maids, housekeepers, um, taking in laundry, that kind of thing. And then you had kids as young as 12 taking jobs as well, as like newsboys, copy boys, delivery boys, gophers, that kind of thing. So that was, and then in, of course, America's Heartland, they were dealing with the effects of the Dust Bowl. Um, so basically, as it was called the Great Depression. So so how as a society were we going to be dealing with that? And and of course, this is when comic books started to come into fruition. And
Comics will lift everyone's spirits up.
right, and we've been looking at the different types of stories and stuff. So let me go ahead now and do the share screen, and we'll get into January 1936 and just look at some of the interesting little tidbits about that. Let's see now. Hopefully, yep. Oh wait, no, that's the wrong. That's the wrong one. So I guess I got to do the other one then. See now. There we go. There we go. Excuse me for one moment while I go off screen here, and I'll even. Okay, so here's where we're at. January 1936, and we have four comics now. Well, the first two issues of what was Popular Comics. So now we have another publisher coming into the mix, Dell Publishing, which over the years would one of the things Dell would Dell pub as it, it's called Dell Comics or Dell Publishing here, Dell Publishing Company Incorporated. Um, they would become known later, of course, for taking already licensed properties like primarily like television shows and some cartoons and and turn and basically making them into comic book form. So Popular Comics #1. This is the first issue of Popular Comics. Um, so this series ran for 145 issues from 1936 to 1948. It was pretty much a monthly series for a while there. Um, so this was a 64-page book here, and all these are comic strip reprints. We have, let's see, 19,
I was going to say, yeah, I recognize Dick Tracy. He's right up in the foreground there.
Yeah, we had 23 comic, 64 pages. So the likely 23. So likely these were like maybe one to two, maybe at the most 3 pages. But these are all like they had like Moon Mole. I don't know if there's, and then some of these here like Always Be Little and Skippy, for example. Cicero's Cat, Mutt and Jeff. Um, these were the types where they'd have like one strip on top of the page and the other strip on the bottom of the page. So that's I think how they worked it. And you might notice too some of these titles were some of these titles will have jumped around. You have Moon Mullins here. Let's see. Yeah, I think all it's going to say here is comic strip reprint. I think that one was 6 pages. The Dick Tracy one was four. Four. So and you Always Belittling and let's see. The following strips. Page 5, dated 2/11. Okay, so those are some of the strips that were in there. Toonsville Folks, which we last saw in Famous Funny. I think a lot of these reprints were moving around quite a bit because I some of them I saw in like feature funnies as well later for Quality Comics. So Tailspin Tommy. Yeah, there's no like there's no like synopses here, so I'll go ahead and just go to the comic itself and see and maybe read a strip or two just to kind of give you an idea of the differences and stories and all that.
Sure, sure, Mike. And like now, I would imagine who's here? Woody's here. Is anyone else here? Like I know, um, like
Well,
we're
it says here I have four people in here, so you, me, and Woody. So there's got to be one other person in here.
yeah, like I think probably getting to recognize the types of stories like Moon Mullins. We saw that before, and Tailspin Tommy. I know, like you had mentioned, the flying, the all around good guy at large that flies around in an airplane. So we're starting to. Me personally, I know we're seeing the continuation of the stories that we know now that you're getting into this.
Yeah. Well, a lot of these were originally started out as, of course, as comic strips in the newspapers. That's where they got a lot of these stories right here.
Okay.
You know, that's why they're saying newspaper strips.
Okay.
So now, what would happen later, of course, is they would eventually start doing original stories. They wouldn't just simply be reprinting the stories from the paper. They'd be um, they'd be uh, poo. They don't have popular comics #1 here, so I'll have to try the other site. Okay. Okay, let's try the other site then that I go to find comics to read. Since it wasn't on Comic Book Plus there. Profit, so we need to go back a little further there. Say we're looking for popular comics. Redditor. Back to letter two. Okay. And there's oh okay, so we're looking for popular.
I thought that said pop of the pop. I thought it said poop of the popcorn theater. I kind of laughed for a second, but it's Popo.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently okay. Sorry, but it doesn't seem I can find
Well, that's all right.
any.
Go back to try one of the other ones that you were
Yeah,
bringing up.
I will. It is a little disappointing in that, I figure you would have wanted to see the first
Yeah, that's okay though.
okay, so we saw that there were like basically 23 stories and they were like all like, you know, actually there is one other site I could go to at least to get the synopses. At least to get there is one other site possibly here I can only get the synopses from. And it's this one right here. Let's see. Yeah, yeah, 140, 138 index. So let's see what happens here. Well, at least it's indexed, so we could possibly get some information on the. Okay, so here's the issue notes. Right? On sale date based on the copyright date of January 2nd, 1936, from the 1936 catalog of copyright entries, period two. No title index. You have basically, so according to this, the cover was Dick Tracy, the Gumps, Gasoline Alley, Haroldine, Little Orphan Annie, Tailspin Tommy, Skippy, Terry and the Pirates, um, Mutt and Jeff.
Look at all those famous ones there, right, Mike? Like Little Orphan Annie.
Yeah,
Gasoline Alley is very famous. That didn't that have a long run? That was
I
very
don't know. I
popular, I
don't know
thought.
as much about that. Remember, a lot of my knowledge is more through DC. I don't know if Gasoline Alley did get picked up
I
by.
remember these as like the reader type books, and I loved Popeye when I was real little and watching that on KTLA. So I remember these old like non superhero type things. And I know Mutt and Jeff was popular, and Gasoline Alley. I seem to remember that had a long run.
Okay, and
Maybe
then
it
here,
didn't.
genre, adventure, humor, aviation, detective, mystery, Dick Tracy. That's a Moon Mullins, genre, humor, first line of dialogue. I wonder what the birthday present is. And then Moon Mullins' Uncle Willie, Tanachi's Uncle Willie gets a pig for birthday present from cousin Duppy. I'll just, I'm just, I'll just try to, I'll kind of just go down through here, and you guys can
Mhm.
try to read the stuff.
Woohoo! That's a party. Bring me a whole pig.
Here's the Dick Tracy one, the detective mystery. There's no two ways about it, Chief. Dick Tracy Jr., aka Dick Tracy Jr., Pat Patton, Chief John Brandon, Chief Yellow Pony, Boris Arson is the villain there with Bora and Zora Arson.
Hey,
Bora,
Woody's got something to add.
all right, let's take a look there then.
How we were talking about the all the different kinds of all the different titles up there. He remembers one there.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, we saw that already. Core's Bat Goat, Core's Banquet. Um, Crazy Cat. Okay. Yeah. The kid in the bowler hat is Kaio from Moon Moon Strip. Okay. So
Do you remember that one, Woody? Did you read that and like do you remember what I was saying? Like things like Gasoline Alley and Mutt and Jeff? Because I kind of do.
yeah.
Okay. Like, can I assume that it's something you remember from your childhood?
Are you asking me or are you asking Woody?
I was asking Woody. He said he saw an ad. He read or he said, "Well, I saw an ad for Crazy Cat or something as you were scrolling by." So
Yeah.
it triggered his memory, and I was just wondering if how he remembers it or how well.
Yeah. Well, let's
So
see.
sorry.
So
Go ahead.
the synopsis here for the Dick Tracy story is Boris Arson escapes from prison. Dick Tracy takes the blame to prevent Chief Brandon from getting fired. Reprints from Chicago Tribune, March 10th, 1935, April 7th, 1935. So that was like from, so that was a reprint from something like March 10th. So January. So like 10 months prior. Always belittling, and they also had the page count here, like 4/10 of a page right there. Always belittling. That's another humor one. Um, I guess they'll reprint it again in Popular Comics number 33. It looks like Skippy 6/10 of a or 2/5 and 3/5. Um, Toonsville Folks, which is in 4/5 of a page there. Another humor strip. Then Little Stanley is 1/5. Um, with basically everything done by Fontaine Font. Come here to me, little Stanley's mother. And of course, I can understand a little bit why some of these are like 8/10 of a page or 2/10 of a page. It's Tailspin Tommy here is a 2-pager with Betty Lou and Spider, the villain there. Augusto Korpaloff, agent of a foreign government. That's the first line from that. That's an adventure. That's probably with the name like Tailspin Tommy. That's probably an kind of an adventure type, like aviation adventure. And then you have a nonfiction, How to Fly. So this is probably more like a text page. Bottom of Tailspin Tommy pages. Half page right there.
You think that'd be no picture, just a text? Like
yeah, well, it could be. I mean,
I believe that. You've shown us those before, where they're giving you a text story, so it might have something easy like saying, this is the ailerons of an airplane, kids, and when you go like this,
actually,
you're controlling the roll.
Yeah, it says right here though, How to Fly is a comic story, but you do have a text article down here with Believe It or Not, another non. I was assuming it was because it was saying it was non-fiction. I was assuming it was, Believe It or. Oh,
sure.
Oh, here's something. Look at that back note. A cannonball, a black eye, Lieutenant Colonel G.R. Breeding. Believe it or not, script, Robert L. Ripley credited. Could that basically be as in Ripley's Believe It or Not?
Of course. The one, the only, not to be mistaken with anything else. Ripley's Believe It or Not. He owned the what do you want to call it? Like just before Guinness World Records, just printing the strange that everyone was going to love, strange things, and
right.
He had those museums. He opened up the museums, right?
So Woody's got a couple of things to say here. I was more like in the newspaper in the 60s, our boarding house with Major Hoopla featured Moon Mullins as one of the boarders. So I guess that was one of the characters in there. And then Major Hoople. Okay. So
sure. Mike, did you watch the Ripley's Believe It or Not television show in the 70s with Jack Palance?
No, I didn't. Well, let's see. Remember, I was born in 75. So in the 70s, I would have been like basically
you would have been a little kid. And this was
little kid.
This was about the same time that say That's Incredible and Real People was out. So late 70s.
Late 70s, early 80s. And and I do remember that. I remember like Ripley's Believe It or Not did get into the 80s too a little bit there.
It did. It was a great show. I loved it. And I had the biggest crush on Holly Palance, Jack Palance's daughter.
Yeah.
So sorry, I just thought I'd throw that in.
No problem. So here, Cicero's cat. Cicero's cat was another regular feature here. For the Ripley's Believe It or Not, apparently the copyright is by King Features Syndicate.
King Features does. They did Popeye as well.
Yeah,
the Popeye folder.
So you have a fifth of a page here for Cicero's cat. Top of the Mutt and Jeff page. Mutt and Jeff, another very popular strip. We kind of went through some of it last time, or at least looked it over. So yeah. So basically, no major. Oh, what's this? Oh, Perry Winkle. For a moment there, I thought that said Perry White. I'm going, what? Winnie Winkle and the Breadwinner. So basically, there's no synopses here. It's just just some basic notes there for it. So go back
I've
to.
got a, I've probably got a good idea of what happens in each story just by the titles.
Well, the titles plus, they do give kind of a description, but as you saw there were a number of different genres there.
Oh,
You
sure. But
had
what I'm saying is
detective
the
mystery, you
titles.
had aviation adventure. Now, granted, a lot of the adventure stories they would just say adventure. They wouldn't like say aviation adventure or naval adventure. But that's
Sure.
basically. But think about that. Think about that kind of variety, though.
Yeah. Those
In
titles were
story,
very descriptive, is what I'm saying. So you knew what you were getting into.
right? So let's look at more fun here. Um, so here, so let's see. So more fun number 8, of course, was a 40-page count. We had let's see how many stories we had here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 little people. Really
There's
20.
Dr.
So
Occult again.
yeah, you had 27. You had 27 stories here. 27 different stories here over a 40 page book there. So so let's so since we didn't actually get a chance to actually read any of the stories in Popular Comics #1, and of course the approximate on sale date here is um January 10th. So at least see what we can find and see if we can breeze through here real quick and see the cover feature for Spike Spalding right there, one page. Um, Sandra of the Secret Service, Part 8 of the Gavonia Affair. Um, Comment Count Taurus is called Count Taurus, or Count Toru Count is called Count Taurus in this story only. In each of his subsequent appearances is Count Tyro, I guess. Sandra is taken prisoner by Count Tyru, who wants to impersonate the missing Princess Yonda, whom she resembles. When Sandra refuses, Tyru threatens to kill Lothar and Reynolds.
Lothar of the Hill People.
But I don't think it's that character, though. I think this
But
guy's kind of.
that's a famous SNL sketch from the late '80s.
Hold
I
on.
find it funny.
So these stories here are all like one pages. Again, kind of that serial storytelling along the main line. I would think Spike Spalding again. And from what I remember from reading this in the Wake and the Wonder, it's more the action adventure stuff of the stuff that was Charlie Fish, Henri Duval. This Now Henri Duval is another character that was created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, the guys who created Superman. So little Linda, Ivanhoe, Slim Pickens, Skipper Ham Shanks. Feature becomes known as Skipper Ham Shanks when continued in the comics magazine. The comics magazine's another Skipper Hicks. Guess they started out Skipper Hicks here. Um, Written and drawn by John A. Patterson. Comics magazine was started up a little later in the year by, believe it was Censure Publishing, and we'll get to that. Well, actually, I think it was it might have been a couple months from here. In fact, I think in March. Buckskin Jim, which is kind of a frontiers adventure type. Professor Barry O'Neill, just kind of the playboy type hero who would partner up with with a French inspector here, and Feng Gao was an international crime lord here. Stories printed in black and white. Barry and Legrand are paralyzed by a strange light originating from a statuette of Feng Gao. The race stops when they agree to answer the gang leader's questions instead of cooperating. Barry grabs the object and throws it at the statue. Feng Gao's men rush into the room, but Barry and Legrand find a secret passage and try to make their escape. Again, this is kind of written serially. So a lot of these are one page at a time. And I can tell you for a fact, because I've looked into this first story on Barry O'Neill, went like something like 32 parts.
Wow.
So writer was Malcolm Wheeler. From what I understand, Malcolm Wheeler Nicholson was the guy who founded National. Well, in this case, I guess they for this comic they changed their name to More Fun Magazine Incorporated. But basically, this is DC. Here's Jack Woods taking on Pancho Villa again, and Don Nogales. Let's see, Jack leads Pancho Villa's men away, while Dolores and her father take refuge in a cave.
I have a question, but
Have a question?
yeah, but you've said it so many times. I feel like you're gonna get mad. But did okay? National Action Publishing is that it?
National Allied Publishing.
Allied Publishing.
Or, well,
Were they
I think technically it's National Allied Publications, actually.
okay? Were they already established, and then DC came? Ooh, DC was an offshoot of from National Allied.
Um, I'm not exactly sure because here's the thing: the company that would become DC went through like numerous other names. Okay, yeah. In fact, let's take a look at that because wait, these are just simply the publisher info. Those are just simply the but okay, so find a publisher. Okay, so you see DC right there, starting in 1935. Okay, um, I do know that. Okay, let's see if they have additional information here. Okay, this is what I was looking for. So those are all the names right there. See all those names right there. Those are at one point DC was known as at some point in their history, DC was known by these names:
Wow, that's a lot.
National Allied Publications, National Allied Newspaper Syndicate, Incorporated, More Fun, Magazine. Now this right here might be the actual order that the names went through.
That's what it seems like. Because
Yeah.
then you've got Detective Comics is only like seventh down there, right?
Uh-huh. And you see DC Comics Incorporated down at the bottom here with now these are all the company names they went by, of course.
Sure. But
And
like DC stands for Detective Comics, right? So
right,
were they
right.
giving it a shout out?
No, I think okay. Um
Or is it paperwork? Were they just merging all this weird
yeah,
stuff
they were
happening at once?
okay. So this like what I do know from some of the research I did on it, right? That I did on some of this. Um, let's see, like More Fun Magazine Inc. and More Fun Inc. probably focused more on some of the earlier issues of More Fun Comics.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but here's something that happened. So you had Detective Comics Incorporated, had All American Comics, you had JR Pub. Now some of these actually were kind of rival companies for a while there because what was going on like in the early 40s, and we'll get to this more when we get into the early 40s, but initially okay, so during the golden age, right, which came known as Earth 2 in the multiverse, in the DC multiverse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now everybody knows Earth 1's history. They know about like the Justice League and all that. On
Well,
Earth on Earth
not.
2, oh, okay,
I
go ahead.
had to write it down. Remember, you had to explain it to me, and I had to write it down.
Okay, well most people like us, most common like or most people who grew up reading comics of our age grew up, Silver Age to Bronze Age, which is 60s to the 80s, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, um, so on Earth 1, which became the main continuity, that was the one that most of us knew with Justice League as the big team up, as a big, superhero team. And then you had, of course, everybody had. Well, on Earth 2, their version of the Justice League was called the Justice Society. But Superman and Batman were not, well, they were honorary members from the get go. They were not as much a part of the founding membership because they already had their own series. Okay. So it was comprised of the Golden Age versions of the Flash, Green Lantern, Hawkman, Atom, who are like basically completely different characters from the ones that most of our generation would know. And then you had also Sandman, um, Hourman, Spectre, Doctor Fate, rounding out the original 8 there. So,
Okay.
but basically there. But what happened was there was a little schism that happened between Detective Comics Incorporated and some of these like the companies that would become like All American Comics and Publishing, right there, and Jolene and all that. So,
Which one?
um,
Wonder Woman Publishing.
well, the one right, so like where it says All American Comics, JR Publishing, Jolene Publications, Wonder Woman Publishing Company.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
all were forming kind of the All American All Star brand. And again, it'll be easier to explain a little bit later when we get there. That'll be
Okay.
like 1939. Okay, so but I just wanted to show you the
I
number
heard
of different.
Flash or someone saying something about how the family. So whoever created Wonder Woman, their family
Uh-huh.
still has patent on that, or are still receiving royalties, whereas as Scheimer's family got screwed over on Superman. Did, am I
No, no, okay.
mistaken that?
The Shimers were not part of Superman. Okay. Well, okay.
No, yeah,
Well, you're
Scheimer was Filmation. I'm sorry. The Superman
Siegel and
creator,
Schuster. You're
Siegel
talking
and
about
Schuster.
Siegel
I'm
and
sorry.
Schuster.
Did they end up getting messed over like legally as far as rights and
Yes, from what I understand, because I did read up on it recently, of course, a little bit. Um, and I think in some ways this happened to a number of some of the earlier writers too. I know Crows of Judgment also talked about Bill Finger and the issue between Bob Kane and Bill Finger. But yes, apparently Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster did kind of get screwed out of royalties for a while there. They eventually came back to DC and were responsible for the creation of Legion of Superheroes. But there was a time there where they had they had originally created Superman, and again, we'll probably get into that a little bit more once we get to 1938.
okay,
But
okay.
there's um, yo, evening, Mike. Hey, Cheney. I hope you're enjoying the content thus far. Going into these deep dives here, and then back to hello, Cheney. Okay. So yeah. So basically, a lot of these were like one pagers here. Bob Merritt. And I'll try to see if I can find any. This is More Fun number 8. So I think this would be the last time it would be titled More Fun, and then I think starting with issue 9, it would become More Fun Comics, and be More
Okay.
Fun Comics for the remainder of the series. Magic Crystal of History, Dan Drake, Treasure Island, which I believe, well, that one might be a Doctor Occult, as we read here. Um, Story was not original. Okay, now also, just to kind of let you know here, you see parentheses right here. It's indicating this was a title that was put on retroactively. So
Okay.
it originally was not titled in the comic itself. It was not originally titled. It was added later. So the story is continued from the 16th story of More Fun 7, and as I noted there, continues as the 26th story of More Fun number 8. Dr. Colt finds Mrs. Amister and returns her to her husband. However, Mrs. Amister has been hypnotized by the vampire master and tries to murder her husband. Dr. Colt prevents the murder. Then he breaks the spell upon the woman. Mrs. Amister then leads Dr. Occult to the vampire master's lair and a trap. Um, and I may try to see if we can, find some of the stories here to actually read to where we can look at how they were being presented. Here's Wing Brady, of course, kind of a so Ali Ben Sahad is the main villain in this story. The
Wings
Bedouin.
sound good. I'm
Go ahead.
sorry. I just said wings sound good.
Wing Brady.
It's that time of night where I'm thinking of food. Am I breaking up?
Uh, yeah, well, I think in this case, Wing Brady, as I explained before, was more of an aviation hero. He was a fighter pilot with the French Foreign Legion. So, okay, so the comments here say it is unclear as to whether one of the escaped Arabs who first appeared in New Fun number 2 is Ali Ben Sahad. Given that Ali is not named until this story, it shall be assumed that this is his first appearance. Wing and Slim pursue two escaped Arab chiefs across the desert.
Hey,
When the
Anon.
Hey Anon, you're here, huh?
He just popped in there, Mike.
Yeah, and I won't probably see it until see it on the StreamYard page for a moment.
Yeah, I go
StreamYard
back and
doesn't
forth.
always. Yeah, I'll get to So Wing and Slim. Okay, we read up to that band. Um, when the Arabs rejoin their band to attack a caravan containing Laurel Dean, Wing goes to their aid while Slim departs to bring help. Um, Wing arrives too late to stop the Arabs from raiding the caravan. So this is part 8 of that story. Um, uh,
Sneaky Arabs.
yeah, the little people. Well, best be careful because we don't want people thinking we're rich.
I know. I'm sorry. That was a joke. That was a joke. I
I
meant
know, I
nothing.
know,
I meant nothing by that, honestly.
I know, I know. The fact though, it's a joke that we should have to that I should actually have to say something like that.
That's the world we live in. That's the world we live in, friend. It's
Yeah. And then of course here's 2023 Space Police. So those are of course all we kind of went through the summaries a bit there. Try to see if I can go through the comic to see if we can
I'll be right back.
All right. All right, there we go. That thing. Okay, now we see some of. Hey, just getting off. Hey, Anna. We're going through some comic history here. Um, Norm Macdonald has a great bit about that with Conan, I believe. All right. So, with that, then we'll go here back to this page, and then we'll go from here. Actually, go to the comic. Let's see if we can go to the comic itself.
Norm Macdonald has a great bit about everything because he's one of the funniest men alive.
Okay, so let's see. Let's see. We'll try to see if we can find um our fun number 8 and go through that a little bit. Maybe read some of the stories back. Oh, there we go. More fun right there. There's number 8 right here. This is the one where. So here's the so more fun, the big comic magazine, February. Now that's the cover date. The release date was actually the approximate on sale date was, and this one's not all that great.
No, it's not. But it's almost 100 years old. Look at that thing.
Yeah. Let's see. Here's Sandra. So here we'll read this a bit. So Count Taurus has ordered Sandra to appear before the Gavonian people as missing Princess Yonda, whom she resembles. Sandra refuses. Madame, you are about to learn of the dungeon well. The what? Look down there. Uh-oh. There's water rushing beneath the well. And what is the balcony for? It is a balcony of doom. No prisoner has ever left it alive.
Balcony of Doom does not sound good.
No, it doesn't. But get that dialogue though, right? Get
Yeah,
that
very
dialogue
cool.
right there.
Oh
That's
yeah. Every word is so dramatic. It's very cool.
right. I will demonstrate first. I close the gate, so the water is rising. Yes, see, it has already reached the balcony. See, pardon, madame. Did it scare you with the cover on it? With the cover on it does not overflow. Now, I open the gate once more. The water has all gone back again. Oh wait, I'm sorry. The water has gone back, has all gone back again.
It's pretty tough name there.
Yeah. Washing the victims out to sea. You might say, but is yonder door opening? Lothar Reynolds! Ah, our oh, Lothar Reynolds. Oh boy. Anyways, our American visitors. Oh, anyways, no,
I understood.
you can't. Oh. Basically, I like to read them just to give you an idea of the dialogue and just the dialogue was obviously and this for
Yeah, that was
Sandra
good.
of the Secret Service by C. Bingham. You have along the main line here.
That was good. Plus, there was a balcony of doom. I'm a big fan of anything that has a balcony of doom in it.
And you look here, here's like along the main line. Again, it looks kind of like slice of life, maybe a could be an adventure one. Let's see. You may be somebody else, goat, but you sure got mine. But so this
Get
might be
it?
a
He got
comedy.
his goat. He got his goat.
Yeah. So this might be a comedy adventure, I'd say.
Yeah, it looks that way.
So here's another Spike Spalding story. This is one of
Whoa,
the
dude.
what?
That's that's
Oh,
yeah.
I think I see what you're talking about. Are you talking about the blackface right there?
Yeah, that's a little bit on the uncomfortable side, is in like people these days would be like, that's yeah. Ooh. But I mean, I know it's in the comics. That's the way they look. That's gnarly that they did stuff like that.
Yeah, and again, you didn't have people up in arms over it either. It was
That's
the time.
true
You
as
know.
well. Very true.
Excuse me a moment while I go off camera.
Roger that. Got some good jerky here with the liquid smoke added.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. So, anyways, let's continue looking. See, In the Wake of the Wander by Mac Fergus. Of course, this is the story Captain Grimm. This is kind of a naval adventure here. Um, Captain Grimm finds himself face to face with the enemy on the burning roof of the flock house. The ladders collapse, plunging the natives below, and Captain Grimm jumps to safety as the roof collapses. Looks like I'm trapped. Cease fire, men. The natives have gone. Look, the captain's look, the captain's trapped. He's going to jump for that tree. He he'll never make it. It's my only chance. Here goes. To be continued. Again, these were written more serially, so you'd have a lot of cliffhangers here. There's Charlie Fish, again another kind of humor one from Vin Sullivan. I believe Vin Sullivan, and there's Blackface.
There's that dude again. It's you're right. It's just a regular character, and that's the way they did stuff back then.
Henri Duval by Jerome Siegel and Joe Shuster. Again, the guys who made Superman. Um, Out of the night, hordes of horsemen pour down on the bay. Now, what I believe is Henri Duval was based on a real historical figure from around the time of the French Revolution. That's what I'm getting at here. Um, hearing the sound of hoofbeats. Henri, I can barely read that. Open in the king's name. Your let's see. Your your hus your musketeers, your majesty, your majesty are caved. No, no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
I'm
said
not
he
even gonna
said
try to read any.
he said you are saved. So what he was doing was he was breaking in a door, and he said, "Your musketeers, Majesty, you are saved," meaning we're here.
Yeah, I get that. It's sometimes hard to read.
It was very hard to read. I saw that. Yeah.
Little Linda by Whitney Ellsworth. I think this is another kind of slice of life one. Whitney Ellsworth was another big name back in this time. He was the author and editor of a number of comics. See, if you come along quietly, you'll save a lot of trouble for yourself. Just a minute, Sheriff. The kid didn't have nothing to with what you want. You want me for uh, uh nothing to do with what you want me for. I think I believe you. I don't know who you are, young sir, but you'd best beat it. This man is under arrest for robbery. I don't believe he did it. Yes, I did. Wasn't much, just a couple of hens from a farmer's coop, but they know I'm the bird that took them. Just the same, it seems a pity to go before we eat these brook trout. Well, I'm kind of hungry at that. I guess a little food would be okay. Fine, fine. And you have my word not to try to get away. Here, here, here you are, Mr. Sheriff. Bell's the clock, Bill's the clock, and I'm the waitress. Or Bill's the cook, and I'm the waitress. Hey, hobo, this is the best broiled trout I ever ate. Thanks. No man who can broil a brook trout like that deserves to go to jail. Oh, are ya gonna let him go? Yes, yes, I'll pay the farmer for the hens myself. I'll go now. You tell him. Thank you, Mr. Sheriff. Funny, you kept out of jail. All right, all right. Honey, you kept out of jail by your cooking, and some folks ought ought be put in jail for theirs. Oh,
There it
granted,
is.
I probably didn't do that much justice, but
That's all right. Oh, we got it. That was a funny one. And speaking of cooking, John just dropped us a little note to say that he's making dinner right now.
yeah, that's cool. I know he's just getting don't eat jerky on camera, lesson learned. Uh,
Yeah, my mistake.
yeah, we've all agreed to just move on from that, right? Just got home making some yum yums. Yep, I love jerky. I love it too. It's a nice meaty snack to have. I've been known to
Jerky.
eat bags. I've been. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen those Jack Daniels bags. I
Mm-hmm.
could sit there in one sitting and eat a whole bag.
Nothing wrong with that. America loves jerky, Mike. It's how do you not love jerky?
Yep. And then here's Ivanhoe by Sir Walter Scott. Again, this is another literary adaptation, another adaptation of I believe, a famous piece of literature. So give me a sec. I got to go off camera. So again, I'm trying not to read every single comic, but again, I want to like give at least enough of a variety here. At least show you guys like let's go around. Here's a text advertisement, I believe. Movies. So here's another text article. A popular Rudy Yali with his pet Wendy, a fine Doberman pincher. See, look at it now. Now that looks cool right there. Backo, let me ask you this: What would you rather? What would you rather when it comes to celebrity culture? What would you rather see? Would you rather see this right here, or would you rather hear celebrities lecturing you on how you should live?
Oh, I'd rather see this any day. Any day. I think over half America, at least half America right now, does not like being lectured by celebrities. I know we're all in a weird place, but that's definitely half the country said no. We're not going to be insulted by people anymore.
I think people like this gentleman would probably be turning over in their graves. I saw what was going on right now. This guy's name is Rudy Yali, who I guess is who was a star back obviously in the 30s there.
Very cool.
And then here's a puzzle page. As you know, as we've of course talked about, comics back in these days were much like highlight magazines are.
That looks fun. I totally want to do those puzzles, Mike. I'm sorry. Wait, go back up. Go to that top one. Dude, look at that. What is that? You're supposed
What
to
you talking
draw
about?
that?
This the forest looking thing
Yeah.
right
What
here.
is that? What is it?
Well, these, if I remember correctly, these kind of lines would seem they're either fold lines or cut lines. They probably explain it all over
Yeah,
here, but
yeah. I see the cut lines there. Okay.
it could what it
Whatever
could
it is,
be
it
what
looks fun.
it might be one of those things where maybe you cut those out of the comic and then put them back together or something like that. And then here of course is a maze
Oh,
right here.
sure. I get what you're saying, Mike. Yeah. So
Yeah,
you'd make your own little puzzle.
right. I'm guessing puzzle
Yeah.
page by Matt Curzon. That
Yeah,
so here
that
we go.
makes sense.
And then here's another text piece on stamps and coins. Now, of course, back in the 30s, I think stamp and coin collection was a major hobby.
Huge, huge stamps and coins. Yes, back in the 30s, very big.
How to win a real dollar. She got $400 for a $half. Look at those advertisements.
When I was a kid, Mike, the comic books that I read, and I told you, like, I didn't do a lot. I didn't do the DC, and I wasn't with you guys on the superheroes. But if whether I was reading, Archie or something, or Richie Rich or something like that, I do remember. I do remember all those ads, those funky ads, and there'd always be just this horrible picture of a penny, like the wheatback penny, and it said, "If you find this with a little C mark on it, it could be worth $100,000." They would tell you all these crazy things.
Yeah. So, well, let's see. I'm a bigger fan of dehydrated jerky. I got a great recipe also. Oh wow, we're already well after the hour mark, Batcoat.
Yeah,
Already at an
yeah.
hour 11. So I may
But you're
only be able to
rocking.
do it. Yeah.
You're rocking. Get a few more in there, and by and 20 more minutes, I'll let you know. That we're coming up on an hour and a half.
And then
But
you want to read this part? This is your comment right here.
Oh yeah, I was telling Anon, I said I never found a good dehydrator in the '90s when that got popular. What do you use?
Okay. And he answered you, I have a regular dehydrator, but also a smoker too. And then pit of touch. Okay. Pit of touch celebrities need a mask in them. Oh God.
Yeah, they do.
Oh man. Well, I know that there's a meme they have out there where they either have like a piece of duct tape over their mouth or they're like this. So, yeah. So anyway, so continuing on here, then let's see, fun mail, which I guess this is the letter to the editor type article or what have you. I guess gives you a chance to write into Slim Pickens by Randall. Will
That makes a lot more sense now, Anon. I was looking at that going, what? Mike, you'll see too now that he corrected that last line.
Oh. Okay. Out of okay. Out of touch. It's almost a social norm when you're rich to speak about things you're uneducated about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So. But yeah. Yeah. Here's another. Slim Pickens looks like another kind of humor strip. It looks like there. Read. Office. I want to try to get wheels go around. Continued. Skipper Hicks. Here looks like another naval maybe adventure comedy by John Patterson.
That's my guy. That's my thing. Let's go to sea, yo.
Yeah. Okay, so go ahead. Right, so the Mary Ann got safely through the giant whirlpools that isolated the um, mysterious islands for over 100 years. The islands are overrun with silver, gold, diamonds. Air Skipper Hicks, Soupy, and I can't read and I guess Sponge Nose.
I can't read those either.
Yeah, but anyway, so that's the intro, and then here's the strip. So Let go of that crown, you bum. Today's my day to be king. And I'm gonna welcome our guest or bust. I say it's my day to be king. King King Oki? King Doki? At your age. Fighting again?
Hey, Mike, check it
Yeah.
out real quick. Anon asked you a question, which you had brought up earlier. It just he wasn't here. About go ahead and see that question he asked you.
Was this what you're talking about?
Yes.
Were these actual comic books or features in papers or magazines? Okay. Um, in this particular case, is what we're talking about with more with the titles in More Fun. Um, they were original titles. So, there were some that were some comic books at this time were doing newspaper strip. In other words, they started in newspapers and then were reprinted in the comic books. But More Fun was one. More Fun, which started out as New Fun, was like the first comic book that did original stories. Like the comic book we kind of looked through a little bit earlier, popular comic #1 from Dell Publishing, Dell Comics. That was a bunch of reprints. Okay, and Famous Funnies from Eastern Color, a bunch of. But this title, the DC titles here, this one and New Comics are original material. So, and I was there originally in these comics. Um, anyways, continuing on with the story here. Let's see now. Let's see. Trying to figure out how these bubbles are going here. Pardon the delay, my friends. You see, our kings are twins, and they take turns wearing the crown. The the record okay. The records show it is King Oki's day to be king. Now beat it, you bum. Okay. Okay. So let's see. As King Oki okay. As King Oki, gentlemen, I welcome you to the Gillyfish Isle. And now that we've gotten rid of that bum, let me show you around our fair islands. Fooey. Fooey on you, silly. This is where all of our money is printed. Millions of um, rumors of it a year, gentlemen. Gosh, what's what's back of your money, gold or silver? Do, do you give out samples, my friend? Posh, posh, gentlemen. Gold and silver is worthless on our islands. We have no sand, hence no glass. So our money is backed by pop bottles washed to our shores from the outside world. Interesting form of currency there, huh? Pop bottles. And just for some of you younger folks in the room, pop bottles those are basically glass soda bottles. Just in case you were not aware of that. Let's see. Got ya, got ya. It's great being able to delve into history. History, yep. Well, just you get some of the different perspectives there. Anonymity. You look at how they talked back then. You looked at some of the cultural norms and all that. So yeah, let's continue on here. Pop bottles. Okay, pop bottles. Why don't you use diamonds or something more valuable, King? Let me see. Diamonds don't make me laugh. Are good used me- you know are good used medicine bottles worth anything? Only slightly used. I am Dr. Jones. Oh wait, okay. Oops. Um, are are used medicine bottles worth anything? Only slightly used. I am Dr. Jones. Our streets are paved with them. They are worthless. Glass, gentlemen, is the rarest thing we have, and the pop bottle standard is the best system. Could you loan me a stick of gum, Skipper? A used piece will do. Let's see. You mean to say say these are real diamonds? Oh yes, the pesky things. The soup ladle. What in blazes are you sticking that gum all over ya for? Yes, sir. As pretty as Jim as I ever saw. Ah, if my old pal Diamond Jim could only see me now, he would turn green with envy. That was an interesting story, huh?
Silly,
Yeah.
but it's
Obviously,
funny.
that was.
I like all those. I like all of those just because of the straightforward humor. I find very funny, and all this stuff is just right on the heels of vaudeville. So to me, it's just pure humor.
Yeah.
Like
And hopefully, my voices are really selling it even more.
they do, it rocks.
Let's see. I think it's like 40s, 50s crime noir detectives had the best talk, um, the slick talking detectives, or rather, when Dick was a private eye. Yeah, well, actually, we did talk a little bit about Dick Tracy earlier because his reprints were a part of popular comics that Dell came out with. Um, oh, Buckskin. Yeah. Gonna try to go the professor here. Buckskin Jim, I told you, was a frontiers type. Gonna go
That
a
one
little
looks
bit faster here just
that
because.
looks really tough. You gonna be able to read that one?
No, I'm not. I'm gonna. I may try. The only one I may try to read before we get out of this one, Thor's famous flights. Um, maybe the Doctor Occult story. That may be the last one I read in this because there's
Okay.
still a couple other comics I want to try to get to real quick to go through. Here's Barry O'Neill in black and white. Just kind of show you the. There's Jack
Look at that.
Woods. Let's see, a true story of how a great mother lode was discovered. Kind of an original story.
That is small font. That is small print. Yes, sir. Anon was just commenting on that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, these are being scanned into online. These are obviously very old comics. Writing is so
Sure.
timeless.
Even still, that's just something. Looking at a comic book, I think back then, is that something that we would look from looking at comics now? To me, it looks like that font is just is a lot smaller, and they're trying to get more info into the page, which is funny that like the SJWs and the weirdos like making all these horrid comic books over the last few years have just filled it up with nothing but text. I'm sorry, I went off on
Filled
a
it up with
tangent there.
nothing but what?
With text, a lot of comics I've seen reviews from comic book reviewers saying this is horrid. Now they're doing mostly text as opposed to giving you action.
Yeah. Anon had something. So comics were mainly like slice of life pieces from the for the beginning. Yeah, a lot of them were because I think it was slice of life kind of twisted with a little bit of fantasy. It was like was slice of life, but it was trying to put like a positive spin on slice of life. I know you weren't here when I was first talking about this. This this comic
Very
came out
true.
in
Very true.
January, went on sale January 10th, 1936. That was the approximate on sale date.
And there still wasn't television at this point.
Right.
In
And
fact,
so
36 is probably the World's Fair where they first introduced like we can broadcast this over the air.
yeah.
Am I right on that?
Actually when we get to 1939,
39.
DC,
39.
DC would actually print. I think for the 1930 and 1940 World's Fairs, DC would actually publish a New York World's Fair comic.
Okay. I'm just saying I saw a video on YouTube is either 36 or 39 where oh man, I forget his name now. The guy who invented the TV, the cathode ray. He did that at World's Fair. I want to say it was 36.
Yeah.
Farnsworth?
I know comics came out in 39 and 40. New
Okay.
York Fairs comics came out. So here's Ramblin' Jim. This is another like slice of life one here. And some of the cartoons that were coming out at the time from Fleischer Studios like Popeye and Betty Boop were much like this too. And um, More Fun and Magic by the Wizard of Biff. House of Magic here. Um, books. Try to. Yeah, I'm probably just gonna just breeze through this because I know we're coming up on an hour and a half pretty quickly here. So I want to get to the other ones here. So I'm just gonna probably just scroll down through these just to give you guys an idea. I think this one's looks like another kind of adventure style one right here. Join the treasury, cash prizes. Had a lot of ad pages too here. Monthly cartoon lesson. Another activity page here, of course. Kind of how you draw comics. And of course, a lot of the comic book companies at this time were all in New York City, if you noticed that earlier. Junior Funsters, The Happy Four Club, a short story by Rosemary Volk. Another text piece there.
The ads are awesome. Yes.
Magic Crystal of History, which I think was a historical adventure one. I think this one was kids would basically be sent back in time or something like that.
That's like Jumanji. It's early Jumanji.
Don Drake on the planet Cerro. So here's one of the two probably like sci-fi stories of the time period. You know, Don Drake on the planet Sparrow, Treasure Island. Again, another story based on literature piece. Here's the Doctor Occult story in color. Again, I'm not going to try to read it this time, but look at it. Look at the artwork there. That looks pretty cool. The artwork.
It's awesome.
You got some considerable definition there.
Oh yeah, and it's beautiful. Look, I mean, it's telling the story. You almost don't need to read the word balloons because
Mm-hmm. You can just look. You can just look at how you can look at the the scenes how they're drawn. Now,
Mhm.
Doctor Occult. Here's another story that was now they went by the pen names at the time, Leaguer and Roos, right there. But Doctor Occult was another Siegel and Schuster um, creation. Same guys who created Superman. So here's Wing Brady, the pilot of the French Foreign Legion.
The dude that makes me hungry to go to Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah. Again, another aviator adventure in the desert, and you also a lot of this is good story. It's good storytelling across the board because you get a bunch of different locales here too. You know,
Yes, yes, very much.
sometimes it's back home in the inner city. Other times it's at some point in history. Whether in the past or the future. Sometimes it's like in the desert there. Let's see, The Little People, Irish Tales by um, Matt Kelly.
Now look at this. You know what this is? This is pre-Littles. Littles stole all of their ideas from that last one.
Oh, from the last one.
You remember the Littles that
Yeah, back in the
cartoon from
'80s.
the 80s? Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm just being goofy, like I always do, Mike. But I'm like, look at the connection. You can actually draw a connection between that last one and the Littles if you want to.
Yeah. So Anon had some things to say here. Damn 1936. That was probably at a literal five and dime type of store. Yeah. 36 World's Fair was the big one, I think. I think it was more like 39 and 40 actually, but actually might have been 39, yeah, because I know that DC Comics actually did publish a comic from that went on sale during the 1939 World's Fair. Um, man, I'm drawing a blank. It was one of those. I love the ad pages. Mm-hmm. Classy artwork, and damn, that looks great. Then here's another naval adventure one in Midshipman Dewey by Tom Cooper here.
Midshipman, what a little wog.
Huh?
He was a little wog if he was a midshipman. I'm joking again, Mike. And
A
that's a Navy.
little.
He
I
was a
don't.
little wog. I crossed the equator when I was on the Nimitz, so I crossed the line. Technically, is what it's called. So I'm a shellback. If you've ever heard of that, so
No,
I
I
like to
haven't.
talk.
No, you've used some terms here I'm not familiar with.
It's a neat military thing that not a lot of people get to do, and so I'm in a small little club. So I talk a little nonsense every once in a while.
Okay. Here's Pelion and Osa. And then 2023, the Super Police. And, well, these are just too much. These are just kind of too much. But, anyways, so let's see if I can. Okay, so we got all the way. Yeah, but won't let me go back any further than that, so I'll have to redo it from this vantage point here. So now, add on just to kind of show you, I kind of looked through this earlier. This is the this is the comic I talked about earlier, Popular Comics #1, which went on sale according to this January 2nd of 1936. This had the Dick Tracy story in it. These were the. This is one of the comics that had just basically you see right there comic strip reprints. These stories all right here originated in newspapers and ended up being reprinted in the comic book there. And then this is the one we just went through. These were all original stories right here. To kind of and you got a nice hodgepodge of different stories and stuff like that. So I won't read any more actual comments, but just to kind of give you an idea of just here's another title that had primarily all. You may have had a couple of original stories in here, but these are again another set of all comic strip reprints. This one was Famous Funnies #19 from Eastern Color Publishing. So now, as of January 1936, you have three publishers now: Eastern Color, DC, and Dell. Of course, at the time, DC was known as a national. Well, for More Fun, it was More Fun magazine, but National Allied as well. Publishing now basically three publishers publishing four books. DC was publishing two of them. Dell started publishing Popular Comics, and then this one came from Eastern Color. So among the characters in this one include like Joe Palooka, and many of these reprints would move around.
Mike, we lost your sound.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you just you directionally went away from your microphone, so I couldn't hear you. But you're fine now.
Okay.
And
Yeah, yeah.
Mike, probably in a little over 5 minutes, you might want to start thinking about winding it down for history.
Yeah, I
Getting
can
up to
see
the
that we're already.
145 mark. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't gonna read any more of the actual comments. I'm just gonna probably breeze through these last two like
Sounds
lists
good.
right here. I'm not even
Sounds good.
gonna go through and read the. Again, I'm just trying to show in this case like how many stories they were publishing, and like just the different. I mean, you can tell by the titles what type of story they are. Let's see. And Image says here, I almost wanted to call my dad up and ask him these Navy terms and ha ha ha.
If your dad was a squid, that's rock star. That's you tell him your buddy said, and I was blue side and a dirt sailor at the same time. So very early in my career, I was a hospital corpsman. I went to sea on the Nimitz. I crossed the equator on the shellback, and then very shortly after that, I decided I hated the nurse corps. So I joined. I was accepted into a field or a battle billet for being a combat corpsman with the Marines, and that's how I spent the majority of my career was in the dirt with the Marines.
Right. So we had like Joe Palooka here, but you see all these different stories here. You had Buck Rogers, another sci-fi story there. Alley Oop, which was kind of a slice. Well, that was more of a humor one about a caveman, of course. Joe Palooka, we talked about that was a boxer. Connie, you had Dixie Dugan down there as well. Jane Arden and Lena Fry, and a lot of these titles would move around to other books too. Now, as they would move around, eventually they'd start, eventually they would move from being just simply newspaper strips, and there are some comics that would start actually publishing original stories based on these newspaper characters too. So, but look, it's a 64-page comic that you would get for 10 cents, and this one went on sale January 15th, 1936, right there. And then Popular Comics #2 came out later that month, like January 31st, right there, cover date of March. And you had Regular Fellas, Daisy Bell. You guys may have remembered seeing in one of the previous famous Funnies comics that we talked about, Little Orphan Annie, you know. So you had Don Winslow, Boston Hall. I believe Don Winslow would move on to another this is just again, I like doing this with you guys because they kind of show you, kind of take a look back at how, as we continue moving forward, right?
The history of comics, yes, the foundations. I love it. I love seeing this. So, and I know all the other guys here. I think are fans of it too.
I really think if we get Tug in here, I think he'd love this too. I think if
I
we
think he
get
would.
Tug and I think if we can get Tug and Yellow Flash, they might even like this a bit, because you think about this too. Why do you think that they had so many stories in these comics at the beginning here? You know, you had all these different ways of escapism to escape what was the Great Depression. Dad went to work 10 to 12 hours a
Yeah,
day in the
very true.
factories or in the public work section. Moms had to stay home and take care of the kids, but also would try to bring in money by like maybe taking in laundry or helping with childcare or schooling. You'd had older kids who would help out by taking jobs as like a newsboy or a copy boy or like or a gopher delivery boy. So kids obviously needed some major escape. When they had a moment, they could sit there and read their comic because, as you said, television wasn't even a thing yet. Television wouldn't even, from this point, television wouldn't even start to become a thing, at least on the East Coast, for another 10 years after this, 46, 47. So, well, actually, I think on the East Coast, television was starting in the early 40s because I do remember KTLA Channel 5 out here actually started broadcasting in 1947. So
That's awesome. That's really cool. Anon just typed something that's really cool, Mike.
yeah, how can you move forward without knowing how you got to where you are? I don't know what.
He was, because I was talking about how the history of comics is
Oh,
amazing, and he was seconding that.
my grandma had recipes from my great grandma and said these were what they would eat during the depression. I loved my grandma's cooking the best.
That is so cool.
So yeah.
That's really cool.
So I know we're coming up on an hour and 45, so I think it would probably be a good time now to start wrapping up with this day in Nietzsche history. So is everybody ready for this day in Nietzsche? And back up, as I said, if you could stick around for a couple minutes after I end the stream so we can
Yes,
talk a
sir.
little
No
bit.
problem. No problem.
Um, Post show stuff, also some other stuff going on. But anyway, so is everybody ready for this day in each history? And that go you, I'll let you read that.
I snuck one in. I said history.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. Actually, I can close that one out. So I'm just gonna do a quick review for my own purposes here, so I know where we're at here. Um.
Woody's always a fan of history.
Yep. Well, it's always good to take a look back, you know, see where you came from and see how you got
Ain't on
to
Central
where you're.
Rocket.
Okay, so yeah, I got some good pieces of his, particularly in the cartoon section here. That's actually where we're gonna start. Let's see, ready here because Nietzsche, baby, yeah. So here we go. So first off, let's go back to on this date. Okay, so today being November 13th, 2020, let's take a look back at this day in each history. On this date, 80, I repeat, 80 years ago, 1940, was the theater premiere of Fantasia, Walt Disney's Fantasia. On this date in 1940 was the theater release of Walt Disney's Fantasia, classic film. While it initially bombed in theaters when it first came out, it would eventually become a cult classic. So, on this date, 80 years ago today, Fantasia was released into theaters. Uh, crazy to think Fantasia is that old. Yep. Except for those of us who knew that, right?
Yeah, well, think about it. I'm 52, right? So
Uh,
I remember my parents taking me to it at a very early age. When did they first re-release it into the theaters? Because they kept it under lock and key. It was like such their baby to Disney that they would re-release it for little spells. And I remember seeing that,
yeah.
and I was
Well,
told
let's
like
just.
that all the parents were like, "This is a great movie. You're going to love it," and we were like, "This is weird."
Yeah. Oh, okay. Theatrical runs, according to the release history. Let's see. I think the first road shows with Sound, 1940 to 41. There was a set of runs from 42 to 63, and then 69 to 90. So see the release history right there.
Okay.
But so
So a year after I was born, they put it back into the theater.
hmm, what 60? Oh, 69. That was the last. That's probably around the time you were getting to watch it. 69
I
to 90 run.
I don't remember that, but I do vaguely remember seeing it in the very early '70s, and that it was a big deal. I remember stuff before I was 5 years old, and people claim that that's not true, but it is. My son has a weird memory too.
Let's see. I remember seeing it in school and thought it was an 80s movie. Yeah, I mean, I think the animation style was considered classic as well because, as we noted, it came out in 1940, and yet it was still looking pretty fresh during its re-releases. Were drive-in theaters the main ones back then, or were there like today's theaters? As far as
I
I know, I mean, well,
I think we saw in a
a little bit
drive-in.
more. Huh?
I
Go
think
ahead.
they opened it up. What did we say? From '69 was a re-release, and I'm
Yeah.
guessing that was probably in the theaters. Like they would go to Man's Chinese or something like that just to like get it out there way back when. That's how they did stuff. But I seem to recall drive-in.
Yeah. The animation is clean on Fantasia yet. Okay, so anyways, we're trying to get through some of this as well, but it's good to talk a little bit about Fantasia there.
It's a classic.
So moving ahead now, um, moving ahead to 1995, which is 25 years ago today, the Monday Night Wars. from Brandon, Manitoba, Canada, part of the TV tapings from earlier, but we mentioned this. The Raw episode that aired on this date in 1995 featured in the main event Sid, accompanied to the ring by Ted DiBiase, defeating Razor Ramon with the 1-2-3 Kid as a special guest referee. I believe this is where the 1-2-3 Kid, aka Sean Waltman, aka Six, aka X Pac, turned on Razor Ramon, aka Scott Hall. So among the other matches on the night included Henry Godwin and Hunter S. Helmsley, ending in a no contest in the opener match. Ahmed Johnson defeating, enhancement talent Jake Steele, King Mabel defeating Roy Raymond. So that happened on this date in that was going on Raw, and while that was going on Raw, what was going on Nitro from the oh, wait, okay. Oh, actually, guess I do need to switch to over. Sorry about that.
This
So while
boy, this
oh, go
really
ahead.
likes to fall down. Like right before I turn on the camera, it's all done up and it's curled, and an hour and a half later, without me brushing it and putting. Sorry,
No
it's got a mind of its own. It's a wild thing.
see, I think got ya, and yeah, drive-ins are so much fun, much more fun. Oh, Raw is War era. Mm-hmm. Razor Ramon and 1-2-3 Kid, haha, aka Scott Hall and Sean Waltman. Scott Hall is still one of my all-time favorites. Kevin Nash too. Ha ha ha. And while all that was going on Raw, was going on, of course, on Monday Nitro. In the main event, I believe the main event saw Sting defeat Dean Malenko in 7 minutes. You also had on the night there Johnny B. Bad defending the WCW World Television Championship and ending in a time limit draw with Eddie Guerrero. He would also defend it in a dark match after the show against Diamond Dallas Page, in which he would, beat him for it. Chris Benoit beat Kensuke Sasaki. Randy Savage would beat Meng, aka Haku from WWF fame, in the opening match. So 25 years ago today, that was what was going on in the Monday Night Wars.
Everyone knows who Randy Savage is.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Macho Man.
Yeah, so. Let's see. Ha ha ha. I remember a lot of these people. Man. Yeah. And then finally, we come up to basically just a year ago in the realm of comics. On this date, 1 year ago today in 2019, the fifth and final issue of Black Hammer Justice League Hammer of Justice #5 would go on the newsstand. So on this date 1 year ago, Black Hammer Hammer of Justice, Justice League Hammer of Justice would go on sale on this date 1 year ago today. So Mang was a badass for real. Like in person, all those wrestlers have stories about him. Yeah. Yeah, from what I understand, a lot of the Samoan guys were pretty, they were pretty tough guys, you know. So anyway, so that's all that this day in niche history. Wow, we're at an hour and 55 minutes here. Backgoat, if you'll hang out for a couple minutes,
Sure.
I'm gonna go ahead and Okay, I thank everybody for coming in tonight. I appreciate you guys. I really do. I know this week we had a little bit of drama. Hopefully that is finally getting resolved a bit here. Um, um, but hopefully we can just all get back to having some fun and talking comics, talking niche and stuff like that. So I bid everybody else adieu. And I will see you all on Monday. Bye.